Welcome back. So it's time to start talking about this token and how we generate a token. Before we can do it, we have to use a couple of videos to actually set up everything around generating a token. The first thing we have to figure out is how we can set up bearer tokens in the startup file so we know that we can start using these JWT tokens in our system. And before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about app settings right here, because we have two different app settings files right here. One called app settings development and one called app settings JSON right here. And these two are actually files we can use depending on if we're working in development environment or if we're working in production environment. And I want to start using those because some of the things I want to put inside my setup for working with JWT tokens is going to be stuff that I don't want to share on GitHub. So it's going to be stuff that I start hiding in these settings files, because we can actually on Azure, we can override this setting file on Azure and actually make some settings ourselves in the cloud that can be hidden and be away from these GitHub repositories right here. So we don't want to share it with the world. Now, I'm going to use the development, this lesson right here, to kind of set up a few things that we need in order to start configuring our JWT tokens in the next lesson. Now, let's just jump to a guide that I found. Now, I actually searched Microsoft's own page to find guides that could help me setting up this JWT in a proper way. Now, the first guide I found is actually a question more than a guide. But there's a lot of information in here that we can use. So first of all, he's actually talking about setting up these JWT settings right here inside the app settings file. He's only using right now a secret. I want to use 3 different variables. I also want to use the audience and the issuer later. But let's just start by setting up a secret right here in our JSON code right here. So I'm going to just copy this for now and we'll talk about it in the code. What I want to do in development right here is just set up JWT config. You can put in any name here and it's just going to be something that we're going to reference soon in our system. Then I'm going to set up a secret right here. So our secret is just going to be, this is a very big secret or something like this. Now this should of course be some kind of value that you don't want to share with anybody, because we're going to use this secret in order to start generating some information about our JWT token. So you shouldn't share this with anybody, and that's actually the idea with this secret. And that's why later on I don't want to share it in my GitHub repo again. I might want to put it into configuration directly on Azure, hidden behind the firewall and everything to make it secure. This secret is going to be used in the next lesson in order to kind of start configuring and setting up our JWT bearer in our system. But again, what is this app setting development JSON file? Well, it's a way where we can start putting in settings that we want to use and we don't want to hard code inside our code. So next lesson we can start grabbing information from this file using this configuration right here, which is pretty much just the configuration that we're getting on the startup file right here as an I configuration. So that means that I can now with this file actually look up this JWT secret right here in our system. Let's try and do it actually in the code. So I'll just go here and grab this and I'll actually go into the code in the startup file, and then I'll try in the very top right here when I configure the service, let's just go and actually get that configuration into our system. And notice the configuration is available right here in the startup file. And let's just see what it complains about. It says you should use this for something. So let's just say var value equal like this. And then let's put a breakpoint right here to see what we actually get from the configuration secret right now in our system. I'll start the debugger. And again, it's just to show you what this configuration file is, because it's not anything magical, but people aren't really using it and they should. So that's why I want to show you this. We hit the breakpoint and now you can see we just get the value. This is a very big secret from the string. And all it's doing again is just finding that value right here inside this file right here in the development JSON file. Now, of course, in production, we could use the app setting production JSON file right here to do the same thing. And we can also use other ways to kind of get these configuration informations. And it's a pretty powerful way, because now we can start, instead of having hard-coded values in our systems, we can actually start grabbing information from these configuration files, which can be changed without recompiling our code. And that's pretty powerful. So that's it for this lesson. Now you know there's actually an app settings development and app settings JSON file. You can make more even if you want to, but these are the 2 default ones you get in your system. And this is how you can get information from them inside the startup file just by calling the configuration directly in your code. Let's end it right there. Next lesson we'll start using them for some real work. See you next time. Bye.